Hello and good Saturday morning, everybody. It is April the 5th, and I'm Chris Allen here with your 270 weather. Weather for the 270 area code and beyond. Well, we're waking up this morning with some rain headed our way. This is the um, looks like the last round of very, very heavy rain that is going to move in, potentially catastrophic flooding uh, based on what we're seeing with the amount of rain that's coming in, and of course, the rain that we've had. And that's the problem. All the rain that we've had to this point, and then we're going to dump lots of rain today, tonight, even part of tomorrow, Sunday, on top of all that standing water. And the problems that we had yesterday, they're going to be, you could say, in a way, doubled um, if we get the amount of rain that it looks like is coming. So the good news, if there is good news out of all this, is if you were watching me last night on News 40 at 10, um, it looked like that we wouldn't have to deal with severe weather last night, even though there was ongoing severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings back to the west of us, right along the Mississippi River and moving into western Kentucky. It looked to me like the air mass here was very stable, or more stable, and that those thunderstorms would weaken a little bit as they moved east. They did. They're not gone, but at least we're not dealing with severe thunderstorms and tornadoes and that sort of thing this morning. We're just dealing with a lot of rain. Let's start with the look outside from the Plano cam. This is live. Everything you're watching is live. If you're tuning in right now at 6:25 a.m. Central Time on this Saturday morning. If you're watching later, that's your timestamp to know how much time has lapsed since I started this morning. So as you can see, as of 6:25 this morning, we have clouds. We've had some rain, but there is a line of thunderstorms coming in here in the next little bit that is going to, cloud up the skies, and it's the beginning of the next round of heavy, heavy rainfall. So if you're going out this morning to do anything, just know that you'll go out, especially here in Bowling Green, mainly dry and cloudy. But in the next hour or less, in some cases, it's going to start raining, and it's going to start raining pretty hard. All right. Here's a look back at yesterday when we got all the way to 84. That was only 2 degrees shy of the record of 86, and 17 degrees warmer than the normal high temperature of 67. And then the low was 55. But look at that rainfall amount of 3.48. That's almost 3.5 inches of rain at the airport yesterday. It was it was nuts. And then we had all the flooding, and the problems with that. There were a couple of water rescues from vehicles, water rescues from homes. It looks like that may be the case again today. Here's a look at radar. I'm going to go in. You know all the green shaded counties here indicate where there is flooding going on, or flood watch, flood warnings also in there. So I'm going to turn that off so that you can see the rain much better. And I'll put this into motion. Here we are at 6:28 a.m. Here comes the animation showing how the rain has moved. And yeah, I mean, it's, that's a pretty good line there. But notice there are no warnings with that line. This is all the stuff that was back toward Paducah, southern Illinois, and southeastern Missouri last night. and it has taken this long to arrive in Bowling Green. That's why I said last night at 10, I think we're okay. We can go to bed. We're not going to have to worry about severe weather overnight or even early this morning. That line is a little bit stout, but it's not severe. On the leading edge of that, there may be some gusty wind, uh, lightning, of course, and very heavy rainfall. So it's going to make a little bit of noise as it comes in. There could be, maybe, if it's tapped into a little bit more unstable air, there could be maybe a severe thunderstorm warning or two out of that, but I don't anticipate, stuff that's going to spawn tornadoes. This is not that kind of environment now. We had that a couple of nights ago, but this is not the kind of environment that is going to spawn big tornadoes. This is going to be just a very heavy rain producer. And this is not the only piece of energy that's out there. I mean, there's a lot more. Look at all this back here. Here is the energy back in Oklahoma, Texas, parts of Arkansas. This is the next piece of energy that has got to go north and east right through our area. So this is just the beginning of another deluge of heavy rain. And I would say the better chance of severe weather is going to be, if we get some, would be this afternoon and this evening, because that's when the instability is going to be higher. Uh, Even with clouds and with rain throughout the day, I still think there is a subtle, if you will, small, severe weather threat later on. If we can get things cooking, so to speak, later on, then that will need to be watched, of course, and we'll watch it. We'll watch it together. I'm going to be here all day. I'm going to, watch things and see how they progress. And then if something pops, we'll activate our team and then we'll get the coverage going, streaming and all that. Um, and then we'll let you know, of course, watch your News 40 weather app and make sure that you're all charged up and ready to go just in case you need to use your phone and your power goes out. All right, here's a look at Kentucky mesonet temperatures this morning. And after yesterday's heavy rain, we went from the 80s into the 70s and overnight into the 60s. And we're still in the 60s this morning here at 6:31 Central Time. 60s this morning, low to mid 60s, all over the place. A couple of things we want to see, for instance, moisture. Dew points are still healthy and muggy in the 60s. So here's a little weather 101 for you. When the air temperature is equal or close to the dew point temperature, that means we're near 100% relative humidity. In other words, the atmosphere cannot hold any more moisture. And so guess where it goes? Yes. So the air temperature and the dew point temperature are pretty equal this morning. In fact, look over here, uh, 64 at the Ag Expo Center sensor this morning. And the dew point is 63.8, temperature 64.1. What that equals out to is 98.9% relative humidity, or almost 100%. And when it's like that, that's when it feels muggy, even sticky sometimes. But that just shows how high the moisture content is this morning. Winds are primarily out of the east, light at about 5 to 10. And as far as any gusts, maybe 10 to 15. Okay, here's the big numbers that I want to show you of rainfall. Since midnight, we've picked up another half inch to an inch. And back here into Western Kentucky, where they've had rain all night, another 3 3/4, almost 3.5, a little bit over 3. Yeah, that's some big rainfall on top of all the rainfall that they've had previous to this, which has measured 7, 8, close to 9 inches of rain in some spots of Western Kentucky. So now they can say that they've most likely over the 3-day period have had over a foot of rain. And there's concern on the Ohio River, the Mississippi River, where they meet outside of Paducah, that some of the water is going to start to come up to that wall. There's a beautiful flood wall right there in Paducah where you can go up. There's a park. I've driven down there several times where you can drive almost on the river, and there's like an almost like an amphitheater type place there in Paducah where you can watch. They do shows, they do plays, all that's flooded now, and they're getting ready to close the flood wall in Paducah because the water's getting so high. Let's review that. This is all since midnight. Here's the past 24 hours. We have picked up an inch and a half plus here in Bowling Green, almost that much in Morgantown. And then you see 2, 3, 4, 4.5 right there where they've had rain all night. And this is adding in some of the rain of yesterday. Now let's go back 2 days worth. And my goodness, this is not even taking in, this is just taking in Thursday and Friday. It doesn't even take in Wednesday. And check it out. 5.5 here, pretty much, almost 6, 6 plus, well over 6.5 in Butler County. There's 7.25 in Grayson County, 6.5 in Ohio County, 7.5 plus in Muhlenberg County. Look at this, almost 8 3/4 inches of rain in Christian County, 8.2 in Trigg County, 9.37 inches of rain. That's in Marshall County, Benton, Kentucky. Wow. And look to the south here. Just south of us, the cutoff has been sharp. But some of you down into parts of southern Allen County, Simpson County, Monroe County, you haven't picked up that much rain. I mean, an inch and a half or so, comparatively speaking. Uh, this is incredible rainfall. So, but this is not even all of it. That's why I say some of these counties in Western Kentucky can now say that they're well over a foot of rain. And it's still raining, and there's still more to come. That's why we've been saying, just echoing what the National Weather Service has been saying, in that this is a catastrophic, even historic rainfall event. Once you take in the whole 3 4 days now of this, and there's still rain to come today, tonight, and tomorrow. So, goodness gracious. If you thought, well, it doesn't look that bad at my house, well, that's just your house. There are places where people's lives are in danger. And especially with the additional rain coming in today, thankfully, some of the rain has, there's been a little bit of runoff, enough and receding of some of the flooded fields and roads and houses and things like that. But as this next wave of rain comes in, they're going to be inundated once again. And it's not good at all. Let me show you what the amounts of rain are looking at right now. And here's what we're predicting. This is for today through Tuesday. But here's the thing you got to know: there will be no rain Monday or Tuesday. So even though this says it's a 72-hour days 1 through 3 QPF stands for quantitative precipitation forecast. So this is for the 3-day period between today and Tuesday. But Monday and Tuesday, we're not going to have rain. So everything is going to come today and tomorrow. And look, I mean, this this is in the red, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and then you start to go 5 to 7 pretty quickly, far southwestern Kentucky. And then you go, there's some spots that'll go over 7. Additional, this is all new rainfall. This doesn't consider what's already fallen, which I just showed you. But this is in addition to all that on the Kentucky Mesonet sensors. So you're talking not only well over a foot, but maybe a foot and a half is very likely in especially Western Kentucky, where there's going to be severe, even catastrophic flooding, is what they're calling it. They're using the word catastrophic, historic. They're using that word. And of course, any kind of flood, even if it's a few inches, it can be life threatening. So, as we keep saying, turn around, don't drown, and all that, I know you're probably tired of hearing it. In some ways, I'm tired of saying it. It's like, can this event just be over already? It will be tomorrow, but we've got another. Really, we've got another from now. We've got another 24 hours to deal with this before we can say goodbye and good riddance to this. So I'm hoping you take this seriously. Again, like I said a day or so ago, this is not hype. This is the real deal. This is not overstating what's happening. It's happening. It's going to go down in the record books as being that big of a deal. Years from now, we'll look back and remember the floods of 2025. Yeah, it's going to be one of those kind of deals. All right. Let me go now to the National Weather Service latest briefing that came out this morning. Yes, there is a severe storm potential. Maybe not as high as it has been. And the good news is that we've had enough cloud cover and we've had enough rain that it's really brought down the instability factor. But I got a feeling, and I think what they're looking at, and what I'm looking at this morning before I started doing this podcast, is that there's still an opportunity later today, this afternoon, and this evening that there could be some severe storms and maybe even a low tornado threat as we get enough instability, and especially if should the sun come out for a little bit of time, boy, that's going to energize everything. Like yesterday, it'd be like yesterday when the sun came out a little bit after the morning heavy rain. Boy, it just energized the atmosphere, and those storms just boom. I mean, they were rough. It looks like that may happen again. It's not a sure thing, but it could happen again this afternoon and this evening before things start to simmer down a bit. So we're under a level 2 slight risk for severe storms this afternoon and this evening. Confidence, as you can see, it's in the low end of the medium category. It's not like I said, it's not a sure bet. But if things start to energize just right and get heated up just right, then there's no way to to say that we won't have something a little more active, but it's there. The potential is certainly there later on today. What about the tornado risk? Well, it's at 5%. It's not a big percentage, but it a percentage of a tornado probability is just that. But you can see on the confidence, low to medium. So it's not going to be your big outbreak tornado event. If anything happens this afternoon that maybe produces a tornado, it would be those really small, short lived uh, spin ups that just are on the leading edge of a squall line or something like that. So don't think this is going to be where you have to worry about just tornadoes everywhere. That's not going to be the case. Uh, there's too much water out there, too much cloud cover out there. I don't think this may not even happen, but there is that small window of opportunity later today that's something could spin up briefly. Okay, but these are not going to be the big tornadoes. Straight line wind damage, yeah, there could be some. We're at 15% of that happening. And same goes for large hail. We've had some hail. Those storms yesterday afternoon produced some, pretty decent hail sizes, some quarter size and ping pong ball sized hail. That's a possibility too, if it's conditional, if we get the stronger storms. If it just rains a lot, I think we'll be okay. Here's a look at the severe weather outlook for Sunday. Yes, there is one, but it's more east of us. It looks like we're going to see just, your ordinary garden variety storms as the system finally moves out of the area. Finally. Oh my goodness. Finally moves out of the area. And notice the confidence in severe storms is low. All right, let's move on to, well, the categories. We're in the slight today, but then marginal or even just the general thunderstorms tomorrow. So now let's move on to the flooding aspect of this. Here, the Weather Service is saying at least another 3 to 4 inches, but that could even be kind of low as far as a forecast, because what I'm seeing is if everything moves in like it's about to, and then it just rains and rains and rains over the same area, some of that new rainfall could be more than just 3 to 4 inches. It could be 5 to 7 or even higher once you get back into Western Kentucky. So, this could be on the low end of prediction, just saying. But as you can see, the confidence is almost off the charts high that this will happen today, tonight. And so they haven't taken in Sunday here. So maybe that's why those numbers are a little bit low. But once you add in Sunday, I mean, we could get another inch or two tomorrow. So that's why I'm saying we could be looking at another 5 to 7 inches additional new rainfall on top of what we've already had. Widespread river flooding, potentially life threatening flooding going on pretty much everywhere. Here is the excessive rainfall outlook for today. Here's Bowling Green. We're in the moderate risk for flooding and excessive rainfall. And then you go into the southwestern corner of the state. That purple indicates a high risk. There's no other way around it. That's a pretty much a given. And then here are your categories for we're in the moderate and the high for excessive rainfall. Numerous flash floods, widespread flash floods, intense river flooding, street flooding. You name it. It's all happening. And here are the river flood gauges and monitors. Bowling Green down here at the bottom. We're in minor to moderate flooding, but all you have to do is just go up the Green River just a little bit, and we're seeing major flooding. Some of you sent us a lot of pictures and videos yesterday to News 40 of flooded roads, creeks, rivers, streams, all out of their banks, flooding fields, flooding, even some structures. That's going to continue today, tonight, and tomorrow until this thing moves out. So you can see, and all this rain that we're getting has to flow into the Ohio River, and everything in the Ohio River has to flow down into the Mississippi River over the coming days. And actually, it's going to take a couple of weeks for all that to happen. So you're going to be dealing, some of you are going to be dealing with flooded fields and highways and roads and all this for weeks, couple of weeks at least from now. Never drive through flooded waters. Most of the fatalities from flooding comes from people in their vehicles. In fact, we saw it happen yesterday in places west of us. There was at least one situation where a child was, sucked up in a drain and became a fatality here in Kentucky yesterday. There was another instance here in Bowling Green where a youngster got sucked up in a drain. He made it out, but let me tell you, this is not a situation you want to mess around with. Um, and then look at this. Here's something new to the mix, and you may look at this and go, "What? Really?" Yeah, a hard freeze. Wow. A hard freeze is expected as we go into, say, Monday night and Tuesday night specifically, maybe even for some Wednesday night. But look, Bowling Green, we go from today 70s, tomorrow we'll be in the 50s, and then by Monday night, but especially Tuesday night and early Tuesday morning, we're going to be in the 30s. And there's some indication for other towns, and you can pick your town there, whatever town you want to pick. Look at around 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. Bardstown will see a low of 28, Bowling Green at 32. And you see 28s, 29s, 27s. There's a 26 or two in there. Look, this is where all the rain clears out, skies clear, and there's a lot of chilly air on the backside of all the heavy rain. So if you've put out plants or even crops that haven't been flooded, yeah, there's that. You may have to cover them up or bring them in. Monday night, I think we're okay in Bowling Green, but Tuesday morning or Tuesday night, it's going to be borderline. There's going to be some places outside of Bowling Green where it could get cold enough to kill whatever plants you've put out or vegetation because of a hard freeze. A hard freeze. Wow. What else can we get? This is like it's all being thrown at us at once. Um, it's just it's one of those years. Somebody, could look at this and say, "Oh, goodness gracious, this is horrible. This has never happened before. Oh, no." Yes, it has. Let me ease your mind. Let me bring you down from the anxiety. This has happened many, many, many times. You just don't remember it. Some of you do. Some of you have a good enough memory to remember when we've had these kind of flooding waters, and then it turns cold. We get a freeze, even snow. It can still snow in April. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but when you look at this and you may think, "Oh my goodness, what a what, this is so big and so bad. It's never happened." Yes, it has. Sorry to bust your bubble, but this has happened many times before. So just simmer down. 76 today. Rain, thunderstorms. There is a severe weather threat, but it's conditional. If we can keep it cloudy, rainy, damp all day, and in that we may not even make 76. I mean, I'm looking at here at my home studio of 65. We could stay in the upper 60s to near 70 and not even make it into the mid 70s. That number is accounting for if the sun comes out a bit for a time and everything starts to heat up, that could happen. I think the flood threat is 100% as it shows there for sure. Heavy rain, flooding rain, but severe storms, maybe not. Let's hope not. Now, some of the cooler air will start to move in tonight. You see that low of 48, but we're going to drop another 10 degrees to 38 tomorrow night as the cooler air takes over Sunday with some leftover rain and even some rumbles of thunder. But the majority of the severe rain will come to an end. Then we see 58 Monday, finally some sunshine. But with the clear sky and the cooler air mass behind the front, I'm showing 34 Monday night. But as you saw in that last chart, uh, it could get colder than that. It could get down to 32 or 31 or even 28 or 29. In some cases, that would mean a hard freeze, and your new plants that you've put out or crops are going to be bitten by some frost. Then we see a sunny 53 on Tuesday, but look, the warm air comes back. We go to more seasonable readings, mid 60s on Wednesday. There is a chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm Thursday as we get to near 70. And I think some of that rain may even continue into next Friday. Severe weather, heavy rain, it's questionable at this point. But really, what we're experiencing right now and have experienced over the last several days, I think maybe it for this big of a weather event. I mean, that's not to say it won't happen again, but I don't see anything, at least within the next week, that would look anything like what we're going through right now. Just keep in mind that we're going to have a lot of heavy rain today. There's going to be more flooding. And then there's that possible chance, not a sure bet, but a possible chance of severe weather. We have to keep an eye on that. And I will all day today, all night tonight, and I'm not going to stop monitoring this until it's out of here. But I still think the number one threat that we are facing today is not uh, strong thunderstorms or tornadoes. It's flooding. Flooding is number one with this system. You guys be safe out there. Pay attention to where you're going, where you're driving. Don't assume that you can drive through a flooded road, and there are dozens. multiple dozens of roads that are closed. And some, you have to be careful. Some of those roads, there may not be barriers up, the cones or anything else. They yesterday they had a hard time getting to all of them. So there may be a back road somewhere that hasn't been found by the highway department to put up those barricades. But golly, please do not go around those. You can be arrested. Yeah. Yeah, you can. It's a hazard. Please be careful. You guys have a great day. Just stay dry, stay warm, stay inside if you can. Thank you for watching, and God bless.